All right, Assalamualaikum. Good morning, everyone.
Morning, Doctor.
Good morning. So today's lecture will be our last lecture. Yeah? So we will cover the last topic for this course. Okay, so hold on, let me go to the slide. Okay, so just a recap on what we have discussed in the past few weeks, yeah, since we started this course. So we have talked about introduction to scientific communication, the fundamentals of research, yeah? And then we have talked about research concept, poster preparation. Poster is the first topic, or yeah, not the first topic, I mean like the first communication topic that we discuss, yeah? So you have practice on the preparation of a scientific poster, I suppose, yeah? And then we move to scientific investigation, thesis research project, and then we move to scientific writing. So this part is a little bit lengthier because we cover first is research proposal, and then thesis writing, and then scientific paper writing. Yeah. So those are the three topics under scientific writing. Okay. So today we are going into the another type of communication topic, which is oral presentation. So we have poster presentation, writing, scientific writing, okay, writing in general, and the last part here is oral presentation. So communication could also be, so one of the forms of communication is oral presentation. Okay, now let's move to the slides directly. So it's going to be a short lecture. I hope that I would not take more than an hour because the topic is not that really long. Okay, so oral presentation. So the outline of today's topic. First, I will talk about preparation phase. Yeah, what before the presentation. So what are the things that we need to know and prepare before the presentation? And the second topic, the subtopic is during the presentation, what are the things that we need to do? Okay, right now, let's go to the introduction. So when do you need to do an oral presentation? So you have done lots of presentation too, right? So it's not something new to you. So oral presentation is needed when someone have to give a lecture, like me now, seminar presentation, proposal presentation, okay, other things, product marketing, departmental briefings, business financing, and also for the students, it's viva, ataupun we call it thesis defense, yeah, for FYP presentation, FYP proposal. For the master's degree presentation, at the end of their studies, they have to defend their thesis, and the oral examination is called viva voce. Yeah? So that's the name given for an oral exam for master's degree and PhD degree. Okay, wait. Yeah, so when our students are needed to do oral presentation, All right. So in your context, you are going to be a final year student next semester. So you have to present your FYP, final year project, research proposal in the first semester, which is next semester. So that's why we train you in this course before you enter your final year. Okay. So you should know that you have to present your FYP proposal not at the end of the semester, it's mid of the semester one, next semester. And then monitoring progress report. Okay, for FYP, there's no progress report presentation, but for master's degree and for PhD students, they have to sometimes present their progress in the middle of their studies. Oops. Just okay. Yeah, for for masters or PhD students, they have to present their progress, so in the middle of their studies. And then thesis defense, that is another time when research students have to present. And also for FYP, at the end of semester two, at the end of your FYP two, you have to present your thesis. You have to defend your thesis. So the term used is thesis defense or viva voce. Viva voce is, I think, is a Latin term, but it refers to a presentation where you defend your thesis. And then for research students, they also have to present during seminar, conference, colloquium. So these events are events for presenting research, basically. So seminar is like a short, much smaller. Conference is a bit bigger. Congress is a bit bigger as well. Colloquium is, I don't know which one is bigger, but the theme is actually the same. They are about, like where the researchers have to gather and then present their works. Okay, so what are the importance of oral presentations to students? So when the students present their works, so that is the time where the examiners, the supervisors will evaluate the ability of the students to carry out the research, right? And then and the students' ability to understand their research actually. Okay, and to the students, it will be a good training ground for them to develop self-esteem, self-belief, confidence, and communication skill. Okay, great. Okay, so here are some terminologies, just an introduction for you. So what are these terms are all about? Because in academia, these events are quite common, for researchers and for academics. Yeah. So seminar is an event where the speaker gives a formal description to audience on a topic chosen by the presenter. Seminar is like more to a specialized topic or theme. So that is seminar. Conference is a meeting for consultation or discussion or an exchange of views. Okay, so for researchers, normally we attend conference like a few times or maybe once or twice a year, where we attend a conference that is related to our field. For example, like I'm from fermentation technology field, so I would go to conferences related to fermentation, and there I would present my work, and I also would listen to others who are from the same field. Okay, so the conference are normally based on specific themes. Symposium also the same. Sometimes some of the events they use conference, some of them use the word symposium, but actually they are about the same. Yeah? And then forum is actually, if you see like forum, there are few speakers and there is a moderator. That is a forum. Colloquium is also like discussion as well. It's about the same with conference. Sometimes, um, you know, you can expect it's about discussion or gathering on the certain issues. Congress is perhaps it's a bit bigger. It's a bigger event and involves lots of participants. So it's a much bigger than conference, yeah, Congress. So it's a big gathering involving many participants to discuss many different issues. Yeah. So the theme would be much wider, the scope of the topics. Okay, so let's have a look at the preparation phase before we present. What are the things that we need to know? So this is in general, not just referring to FYP. Yeah? So preparation phase occurs before the actual presentation, right? So before we present, we must know what kind of event that we are attending. Is it FYP presentation? Is it a conference? Is it a seminar? Is it a forum? We should know the flow of the event. Yeah? Is it, let's say forum is a bit different because there is a moderator and you have to just like speak on certain time intervals, isn't it? So you cannot continuously, you cannot present continuously. So you have to know the nature of the event that you are attending and presenting, okay? And then, you have to select your method. Method is like according to the types of the event. And then selecting the materials to be presented. Yeah, of course, you have to also know the audience. Yeah, the audience. Are the audience those who are from your field? Because if let's say you are presenting science, right? So some of the terminologies, if let's say those are not from the field, you might not be advisable to use jargons or terminologies that are so specific that general public may not know. Okay, so before you select the materials, of course, you have to know the audience, and only then you can design your materials, whether it's going to be very specific or very or general. Okay, so selection of the materials is also important. Preparing the materials to be presented. Okay, so if let's say you need to prepare slides, yeah. So what are the materials? What are the pictures that maybe you need to include? What kind of information, maybe statistical information or whatever. So you have to prepare it, yeah, in the form of slides. So if you forum, maybe you don't need slides, you just have to talk, but most of other presentations like conferences, seminar, you have to prepare the slides. So preparing the materials and then rehearsing, editing. So once you have the things, you rehearse. Rehearsing is very important, yeah, because that could build your confidence. I know that presentation, even like when I want to present, I would have the nervousness. So it's normal. But the preparation will help you to be less nervous and will be more confident, because once you know the flow of the things, you are well versed of the your presentation, it will help you to be more confident. Yeah? So rehearsing is very important. And whilst you rehearse, you can edit. Maybe this one is not important. Maybe this one can be removed or so. So that's the importance of rehearsing, because it will help you to edit and to improve your slides, your presentation. Okay, so the tips for the preparation. Avoid the wrong assumption that preparation of the oral presentation is simple and easy. Okay, maybe you want to say that you have prepared the slides. You don't need to rehearse. I mean, everything is there. You just have to speak. But that is actually wrong, because rehearsing is a very important element of preparation. Why I emphasize it? Because when I was studying in the UK, so to me, English is my second language. I'm not really well versed in English. But when I mingle with my friends over there, they are native speakers, native speakers of English. So it means that I would expect they would present well. They would, that is their language, and they would just like, everything is very easy for them to come out from their mouth because it's so natural. But I was wrong because when I mingle with them, the native speakers, even though English is their first language, but they don't take it easy when it comes to like presentation. They would also have to rehearse. I mean, like they take the rehearsing thing is a very important thing. So I was like, I was very surprised, when I was there, and I thought that, you guys don't have to worry about presentation, but I was wrong. So that is actually one of the wrong assumption lah. Yeah? So rehearsing, it doesn't matter whether you are the first speaker or the second speaker. And the language is not your first language, or is your second language, but you have to actually rehearse regardless of that. Yeah? So even though if let's say because I was I used to get some information from my English lecturer. So she said that her friends is a native speaker, but because of she doesn't prepare the things, it's not going to be a good presentation still. So the language, whether you are the a native or non-native speaker, does not guarantee whether you can present well. Okay, so it means that regardless of that, you have to prepare and you have to take the rehearsing as an important part of the preparation. Yeah. Okay, so the preparation part of it is rehearsing. Yeah. And then know the place, time, and length of your presentation. Okay, so this is also important because if let's say you are given, especially for FYP presentation, like you are given just like 10 minutes to present, you cannot exceed 10 minutes. So that's why you have to rehearse. So when you rehearse, you know how long you will be presenting. So if it is more than 10 minutes, you can cut some of the points. Yeah? So know the place, time, and length of your presentation. Adjust your mode of presentation according to the types of audience and their academic status. So I have mentioned about this. So if you are talking to scientists, biotechnologists, for example, you're from biotech, right? So you don't mind about using biotech terms, yeah? Like when we talk about genetic engineering, and you don't have to explain it. Recombinant microorganisms, you don't have to explain what it is. But if you are talking to general public who don't understand science, you have to take note of that. You cannot just simply use it. Yeah? So maybe you have to explain a little bit. Yeah? So that's a very important aspect because that will determine whether your presentation is effective or not. Yeah? If you are well prepared with sufficient practice, you will increase your confidence. Yeah? This is what I said just now. Preparation of slides. What do you need? Why do you need visual aids or slides? Okay, so when we are presenting, we are not actually presenting text merely. Okay, as an audience, for example, if I want to listen to any presentation, I don't want to read the text solely. Of course, in some cases, the texts are needed still, but it would be much better if there are visuals, slides, visual aids, something like related to the pictures, graph, infographics, something that is easy to be digested in just few minutes. Yeah. So because during the presentation, let's say it's 10 minutes, so the audience do not have much time to digest. So of course, you must make sure that the things that you deliver is something that is easy to be digested in few seconds. Yeah? So that would maximize the effectiveness of your presentation. Okay, so when, for example, if let's say you have prepared FYP proposal, yeah, FYP proposal, and after that you have to present your FYP proposal. So you cannot just copy everything from your proposal and put it on the slides, and that it is. That is a wrong kind of preparation. Okay, so you have to scheme. You know what scheme? You have to like select the key points, key subjects maybe, yeah, and then put it in a way that is presentable and easy to be digested in a brief time. Yeah? For example, if you are talking about methodology, okay, so of course, in your proposal, you have like maybe 5 pages of explanation of all the methods that you're using. But when you want to present, of course, you want to tell the audience first, the first thing is like the general view of the methods or the stages of your work. Okay, so means that you have to create a flow chart. A flow chart is important. So you have to think creatively and logically how you want to explain to people. So you have to use all these kind of visual aids. Flow chart. So the first stage is this, second stage is this, third stage is this, and those things you have to create by yourself. You don't have to say that because of the papers do not have this, you cannot do that, because that is your work. You have to know your work and you have to know the stage very well. So flowchart is one of the important visual aids that you can include in your slides, especially for the methodology. And then pictures. If let's say in your literature review, you want to say the applications of bioethanol, there are numerous applications. Of course, in the proposal, you cannot put lots of pictures, but in your slides, you can try to think how you want to make the viewers or audience get the things immediately. For example, if you want to say applications of bioethanol as biofuel, fuel for vehicles, as energy for plant or for building, for example, or use in chemical industry. So applications you can make like you can make a diagram, bioethanol, applications of bioethanol, and then you can make arrow and you can put pictures. For example, like fuel for vehicles, you can put the picture of fuel vehicles, right? And then chemistry, chemical, something like chemical industry. You can find the pictures related to chemicals, or then you can say energy, find examples of pictures related to energy. So you can paste it, okay? So that's the way how you can make your presentation more interesting, yeah? Rather than if let's say you put applications of bioethanol 1, 2, 3, is very boring now, although it's understandable, but it is not as attractive as you put the visual aids. Yeah? And for example, if let's say you want to present results, rather than you say in words, the results is the trend is increasing, like in words, you just put the pictures, like the graph, whatever the graph or the pie chart maybe, and then from there you explain. You don't have, sometimes maybe you just put like important points, a very brief statement indicating the main points, but the rest you have to explain. Okay, the graph looks like increasing in the first phase and so on. The percentage is the big portion. You have to explain. That's the purpose of presentation. You have to explain to the audience, and not just to read from the text. Okay, so that is on the slide. Keep speakers enhance formation of ideas. Okay, I've talked about it. Generate interest, help to distribute correct information. Okay. Yeah, visual aid rules, keep it simple, minimize the words, use large or big fonts. Okay, this one is like you expect the audience can read or not. If let's say you are presenting virtually like this, might not be a problem, but if let's say you are presenting in a physical event, so make sure that it is big enough, the font, yeah. And then list key points. Normally it's good to use bullet form rather than text, long text and long sentences. Use colorful photos and tables, prepare handouts. Okay. Right now, let me focus on the final year project. And since you guys are taking final year project next semester, so you have to present, yeah, apart from the proposal writing. So this this is the outline of the presentation. There are two things here. So this one is FYP1, semester 1, okay, and this is FYP2, which you have to present in your semester 2 around at the end of the semester, like maybe week 12, like that. Okay, but FYP1, you have to present someone in the middle of the semester, which is about week 6, week 7, like that, around like that. So not at the end of the semester. So you have to be ready from the early of the semester. So the outline, there are some differences and some similarities as well. So if we look at the research proposal presentation, so the section that you must have, introduction, literature review, methodology or materials and methods, and then you have expected outcomes because you don't have results yet. You are presenting the proposal, Gantt chart, and finally references. Okay, so those are the things that it's actually the same thing, the same sections that you have in the proposal, but you have, as I said, you have to skim the content. You cannot include everything, and you have to simplify the sentences as well. Okay, for example, introduction, you limit to 2 slides, but at the end of the introduction, there must be objective. This is a very important closing section of the introduction. You must have the objectives. Yeah? And then literature review, this one in brief and concise manner. Methodology, include flowchart or pictures. Yeah? And then expected outcomes, Gantt chart. Okay, references here, only those cited in the slides. Okay, maybe like in the literature review, just cite a few references, not all. So you just list down all those references that you use throughout your presentation. Means that it would be less than the one listed in your research proposal write-up. Okay, so that is FYP1. FYP2, so you still have introduction, and then literature review, right? And then methodology still. But the way how you explain, because when you write a research proposal, right, when you write the method section, you have to use past future tense, right? Here is future tense. And the same thing like how you explain, how you present. Okay, for example, in the first, for example, let's say I present method for the proposal presentation. So the first stage will be carried out. So see, will be carried out. This, the analysis that will be done are as follows. So please make sure that you use future tense as well in your presentation. But for your FYP2, because you have done the work, so the way how you present for the methods, you have to use past tense. And the same thing with the write-up, you have to use past tense as well. But when you present it, also you have to say the first stage was carried out. The methods done were, so you have to use past tense. So it applies in your presentation as well. And then for the FYP2, okay, this is the differences. You have results, of course you have results. And then here is where you present the results. And it's good to divide it into subsection. Means that if let's say you have 3 main parts of your results, so you put it like, okay, 4.1 is what? 4.1 is maybe effect of pH on cell growth and enzyme production, for example. Okay, 4.2 is effect of temperature. Okay, so you divide it into subsections, so it's much easier for the audience to focus. So rather than if you don't put any subsection, okay. And when you present, I'll show later the slides for the results, examples of slides for results. You don't need to put all the explanation that you have in your, for example, in your thesis into your slides. The most important part for the results are whatever the figures, like for example, graphs, pictures of whatever, it depends on your work, okay? So you can put it on your slides, but the explanation, try to limit the words and try to explain more orally, because that is actually the purpose of oral presentation. You have to tell the audience, you have to explain it orally, okay? So that's results. And actually when you present the results, when you say this and this, and then you try to discuss as well. So it's actually two in one, results and discussion. And then the fifth part section is conclusions and recommendations. Okay, you can see that for the proposal, there is no conclusions because there's nothing to conclude. You don't have any results yet. But in your FYP2, you have the results and you can conclude based on the results. And here, the conclusion, you must actually reflect to your objective. So if let's say you have two objectives, of course you have to conclude what happened to the objective. Is it fulfilled or not? Objective 1, objective 2. Okay, so please relate to your objectives. And apart from the conclusions, you can also recommend future work. So when you have done the work later in your FYP2, you would have ideas on things that you can improve, things that you want to do but you don't have time. So you can put it under recommendations for future work. Okay. And then references, also the same. You can only cite those that are cited in the slides, not all the one that you have listed in your thesis. Okay, and in addition to this, you should have a slide in the beginning showing the outline of the presentation. So what is meant by the outline? Outline is something like this. So after you, let's say after you introduce yourself, my title is this and this, my supervisor is this, and you introduce your name as well. So you say that, so my today's presentation will cover all of these points. So this is outline to say that what are the things that you will present in your presentation. Okay, so that's what I meant here, the outline. Okay, so let's have a look at an example of the slides. Okay, this is an example of, okay. This is an example of a title slide, presenter's name. So you should have your title, your name, and then your supervisor. Yeah. A bit lagging. Okay. So that's the title slide, and then outline slide. Outline slide. Okay. So I don't go actually into each of that actually. Introduction, I got it. So this one is just an example of a brief notes on literature review. Okay, literature review, although the section is all about facts, statements, right? But you can actually simplify the statements that you have written in your proposal or in your thesis. For example, you can say brief notes on whatsoever. Okay, so you just put the sentences very brief. You don't have to put you don't have to construct full sentences. Like for example, the first statement there, a byproduct of bioacknowledgement, is a very simple statement because that's the purpose of the presentation, just to simplify the things. If let's say the persons or whoever are interested to read more, they can read your thesis, but this is your slides. You don't have to write lengthy sentences. Okay. And the way how you cite, for example, because we don't have much space on the slides, so how you cite, what I mean cite is like you put the reference. You see the number over here? So this one. So that refers to references. I put it superscript. Superscript is like to the power of, it's not like in the same level with the letters. So yeah, you start, you label the references according to the order. Yeah, 1, 2. Okay, so 1, if you see here at the end of the slides, you can see this is 1, this is 2, and these are the references. You can use small font for that. Okay, that is one option. You can also put, if you have space, if this one is another option, if you can also put from Manik at all 2012. Boleh juga, tapi let's say another option you want to remove, you want to reduce the words, you can just use numbers like that. Okay. So both ways are acceptable, but it's just you have to be consistent throughout your presentation. Okay, if you use number, use number. If you write Pramani et al. And at the end, you list down all the references also can. Okay, so those are examples of brief notes on literature review. Okay, so this is a flow chart. This is not really a nice flow chart, but just an example to show you. Okay, so if you want to explain to the people, you have to explain first the overview. Overview means like the whole picture of the work. Okay, what is the first stage, second stage, third stage until the end. So that like the audience know, okay, this is your work. So if you want to explain each of that, you can go during, you can explain when you say the first stage is this, you use what analysis. So it's going to be very brief. For example, this one is the flow chart, and you number it. Make sure that the arrow is understood. The flow of the picture is understood. Okay, for example, it's going to the left, to the right. Okay, so you need to number the things. Okay, and for example, if let's say you want to put some more, this is just a very simple example. You can also put sometimes maybe parameters, pH, temperature, for example. And then let's say you want to put analysis, for example, analysis, protein assay, you use Bradford essay, and then you put the reference, Bradford, I think 1956, for example. So it's very simple. You may not really needed to put detailed description. Maybe if let's say the examiner or the audience asks you, you can explain, but you don't have to put 1 gram was added to whatsoever. Okay, you don't have to. You just put the name of the method, and then, like for example, parameters, pH from let's say 5 to 7, for example, temperature from 30 degrees to 40 degrees, for example. Okay, so very simple. Okay, so that's how you put the how you prepare the flow chart, the methodology chart. Okay, this is for results. This is a slide showing research results. Okay, so for results, it depends on your work. It does not necessarily to be a graph like this. If you have quantitative data, then you can have to present graphs lah, basically. So if let's say you present graphs, so this is how you put it. You make it bigger, you make it like easy to differentiate, to be differentiated between different graphs. And then you highlight certain things. For example, this is what, okay. And then you say that, you label properly the things. And you can put like simple notes. What is the points? What is the significant points observed from this graph of figures? Okay. And then, for example, here, this is another example. So you can label arrow, put arrow and a circle to show that that is actually the main results, or maybe the highest point. Yeah. For example, here I put high specific growth rate because it's the highest, so I circle it. So you explain. So it's not just this. During the presentation, you have to explain. Okay, the highest point is this. So that's the way how you present the results. You can also put it, let's say after you have the results, you can summarize your results in a brief manner. Okay, maybe you can say that the main points are listed here: similar medium, concentration, and so on. So you make it very brief. It's very different from the write-up. Okay, and it's advisable to use bullet or number form like this. Okay, so that is easier to focus, for the audience to focus on. Highlights the important findings is what. Okay, you can see my sentences here are very brief. I simplified all the sentences. Okay, okay, I just have that examples. So this is examples of acknowledgement. Yeah, acknowledgement. at the end of the presentation, if let's say your work is funded, is sponsored by certain bodies, you have to acknowledge. For example, I was sponsored by Ministry of Higher Education, so I have to mention in my acknowledgement. Okay, that is a very important section as well. Okay, so that is preparation. What are the things that you need to prepare before the presentation on the slides? So the second part here that I want to focus on is presentation phase. During the presentation, what are the things that you need to take note? Yeah? Tips for successful preparation: keep your attitude positive and cheerful. Be sensitive to the condition of your audience. Okay, you have to know the audience. Yeah, basically this one is like more to body language skill and also your skill to communicate. So I think this is not something new for you. You know how to control your voice, speak louder, speak clearly, right? And then you have to have an eye contact as well with your audience, especially when you are presenting in a physical events, right? So you have to look at your audience, not just on your slides. And you have to look, like you have to look, you have to make an eye contact with your audience in a balance, not just to one side. You have to see not to say everyone, but every section now, generally. Okay. Yeah. Repeat important points, slow down to emphasize certain. Okay, this is just some common sense, like do not simply read whatever you have written on the screen, okay? So everyone can see and read it, okay? So this one you have to explain, especially the results, especially on the figures. That's why avoid long sentences, just put brief sentences, and the rest is you have to explain, okay? Right, additional points for virtual presentation. This one I want to highlight because as we are dealing with lots of virtual presentations, so there are things that you need to know. This is my extra points. I don't have, yeah, I've just added just now, okay? So for virtual presentation, so if let's say you are needed to present virtually, so ideally you have to turn on the webcam, okay? That is important, especially when you are attending, for example, like an interview where you have to present. Itu kena lah, takkan dah. Macam mana orang nak tahu your face kan? So you have to turn on the webcam, okay? So having said that, you have to use professional background. Or if not, you just use like plain background. But nowadays you have lots of choices, free professional background. You just Google it, you just look for it in the internet, right? So the office background, so that would be like more professional. And then of course you have to wear formal attire, even though it's just a virtual presentation or virtual meeting. Yeah. And then if let's say you have to present virtually also, you have to explore the functions of the video conferencing applications. So you have to know first, what are those applications? We have Webex, Zoom, Google Meet, Microsoft Teams. So it depends on the organizers. Sometimes they use different platforms, but you have to know, regardless of that, you have to know what are the platforms they are using, and you have to explore it before the day of the presentation, so that you are not nervous on the day. Okay, explore the functions means like you have to try lah. Let's say it's good to master all of them, so that whenever they use any of them, you know. Zoom, for example, Zoom, how to present in Zoom, what are the functions, how to share the video, for example, maybe you need to share video, how to share the slides, how to change the background, so on. So do dry run before the event. Dry run means like rehearsal lah. So rehearse, maybe you open first your Zoom account and then try to present or record and see. And that's the way how you rehearse in a virtual presentation. You record the presentation and listen to your presentation and improve from there. Okay. Right. So here I want to show you like okay, this is during one of my presentation. So this is me presenting. You see, I turn on the webcam during the presentation, and this is my title slide. I was presenting my research during a symposium last year. Right, and then what I mean by the professional background, sometimes the organizer will give you the virtual background, but if not, you can just use your own background lah, and make sure that it's professional. What is meant by professional is something, don't use fancy things lah, jangan guna kartun ke apa. So you have to use something like Office, something on, if not just paling-paling pun plan background. That one is okay. But not something fancy lah. Okay, so professional background, wear professional formal attire. Formal attire, formal lah kalau baju kurung juga. Kalau kemeja for the guys. So even though it's a virtual presentation, people will actually, they will have an impression about you. So it's just a virtual presentation. Okay, I think that's it. Not much. So you have to prepare presentation, right, for the proposal. And I ask you to record. Okay, another thing is, let's say some of the symposiums, like this one is a synchronous, means that I have to present at the same time during the conference. But some of the conference, they would ask the presenters to record their presentation. So if let's say you are, for example, like the task, the assignment that I assign you, I ask you guys to record, right? So that is also a training for you, how to record your presentation and how to upload it on YouTube. Yeah? So those are the new norms that you should know, so that after this, if let's say you enter the workforce, or if you're going to have internship, right? So you are going to deal with lots of formal things. So it will be a good practice lah. So you have to know how to record the presentation, how to things like that. I think it's getting typical nowadays. You should know that. Yeah. So I asked you guys to record the presentation. So meaning to say that you have to know how to record, how to upload on YouTube. If let's say you have a Google account, you can also, you already have a channel on YouTube actually. So, but it's just up to you whether you make it public or not. Okay. So I think I asked you to upload on YouTube so that you get the URL, because I want that URL. Okay. So any question for this? So we have covered all the topics in this course. So we have finished. So after this, there's no more lecture. So you can focus on your assignments. I've put on eLead the instruction for the proposal and for the presentation, and also the place for you to submit. Do you guys need extra time for the proposal? Since we are ahead of time, so we have lots of time actually. The semester would just 7 June. Okay ke 7 June? You need another week, 14 June.
Another week boleh juga doktor.
Okay. 14 June, and then semester ends. Boleh lah. Okay, I would extend it, proposal until 14 June. And then for the presentation, 21st lah. 21st.
Doctor, can I ask, for
Yes.
the presentation, will it be recorded or live presentation?
Recorded. I have mentioned in the instruction, so this one. So if you click on the instruction, hold on.
I got a bit confused because based on the marking scheme, dekat sana dia ada cakap
Okay.
Q&A.
Because that rubric is created for the previous semesters. Instruction to research proposal. Hold on, I try to open this file. Sekejap. Mhm. Okay, this one. So if you see the instruction, so this is the instruction for the proposal writing, for the presentation. Okay, so following the FYP preparation, you are required to present the proposal in a 10-minute presentation that needs to be recorded. So it means you have to present and record. Okay. So the presentation video needs to be uploaded to the YouTube channel and submit the link of the YouTube video to the elite. Okay, so that's the instruction. Okay, so these are the things that you need to have. Okay, and the tips, yeah. So it's going to be a recorded one. Okay.
Okay,
Is it clear?
doctor. Thank you. Clear, doctor.
Um, yeah, the rubric is somehow is a all rubric. But I don't have the. Yeah, but it's gonna be based on your recorded presentation. Okay. So if there's no more questions, you can email me if you have any inquiries about the assignments. Okay. So with that, thank you very much for your attention. Have a nice day. Can I see somebody? Irene. Irene. Is Irene here?
Yes, doctor.
Oh, okay. So the rest can leave, yeah? Yeah, anyone who wants to scan your attendance?
Doctor?
Yeah, Irene, you can, Irene, do you want to meet me physically or you want to meet here? Like virtually?
I think physically because my friend also want to go.
Say again?
I think physically because my friend also
Oh,
want to
okay.
go.
Okay, okay. Yeah, you are in the campus right now.
Yeah,
Okay. You know my office, Irene?
I think so.
Yeah, it's in G3, yeah? G3.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, you may leave, yeah? All right, thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you, doctor.
Yeah,
Thank you, Doctor.
welcome.
Doctor, can I have a manual attendance?
What's your name?
Rosmando Arifin.
Okay. That's mine. Yeah, done.
Thank you, doctor. Have a nice day.
Okay. Yeah, me too.